Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have another interesting recipe for you. Today we're going to make kunafa, which is an Arabic dessert made of primarily cheese, and it'll be the first time I'm trying it out, so hopefully it turns out well. So let's have a look at the ingredients which are required to make. Not a lot of them, as you can see. The first ingredient will be fresh milk. Then we'll require some whipping cream. Of course, sugar. Any dessert requires sugar. Uh, we also have rose water here, lime for a bit of zest. This is semolina powder, and then we come to our cheese. Here we have ricotta cheese, and here we have mozzarella cheese. For this recipe, I've chosen a fresh block of mozzarella cheese, which I've shredded it. You can also buy the pre-made shredded mozzarella cheese if you wish to. And next we have butter. This can be substituted for ghee also. And lastly, the main component of the dessert, that is the kunafa dough, and this dough can be found in the freezer section of almost any hypermarket or superstore. So for the first step, we've let the kunafa dough rest for a bit and defrost, and after that we've put it in the food processor so that all the strands are pulled apart and separated. Here I've melted some butter. Now I'll be pouring this melted butter into the dough. Making sure that all the strands get coated evenly with the melted butter. So I finished mixing the butter in thoroughly, making sure that each strand, if not almost each strand, has been thoroughly mixed in. So now I'm going to pat down the kunafa dough into the baking pan. Before that, make sure you've coated the baking pan with baking paper and then put melted butter on it. Now I'll put the kunafa dough into the tray. So make sure that you put about 2/3 of the kunafa dough into the baking pan. So try to pat it down as level as possible, and if you want, try and make sure that you've got it on the sides of the containers of the baking pan as well. The kunafa dough we've put aside in the pan. Now we're going to make the pudding of the kunafa. So I'll be adding 350 milliliter of milk. So we'll add the 350 milliliter of milk in. Now to that we add 180 ml of whipping cream. Now we're going to add 3 tablespoons of semolina powder. And 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now in the beginning of the video I forgot to mention that there's another ingredient which is corn flour. So we add 1 teaspoon of corn flour. Now put it on a medium to high heat and mix it till it becomes a little bit of a thick consistency. So I've been stirring for about 3 minutes now and it's become a thicker consistency, so I'll switch off the flame, and now I'll add 1 teaspoon of rose water. I'll mix in the rose water into the pudding. So after adding the rose water, we'll add 600 grams of the shredded mozzarella. Next we'll add 250 grams of ricotta cheese. And now we'll mix it. So I've mixed in the cheese and you can see the very thick consistency. Now I'm going to be adding this cheese and spreading it evenly into the dough. So as you can see, I've spread it evenly into the Kunafa dough. Make sure it's level. So after we've put the pudding in, the remaining Kunafa dough that we have, we again layer it on top of the pudding. So as you can see, I'm leveling the remaining Kunafa dough over, just pressing it so that it sticks onto the pudding and forms a tight, compact layer. So as of now, the Kunafa is done, and while we are preheating the oven to 180 to 200 degrees Celsius, so while we are waiting for the oven to heat up, we'll make the sugar syrup, because Kunafa by itself is not sweet, so we need something sweet like the sugar syrup to actually get the flavor. So to make the sugar syrup, we'll first add 2.5 cups of sugar. Now you need to add about 1.25 cups of water. And we'll heat it to medium to high temperature. So heat it for about 10 minutes till you get a good syrupy texture. The oven has been heating for about 20 minutes now, so now it's time to put the Kunafa inside the oven. So the sugar syrup has been heating for about 10 minutes, so we'll switch off the flame. Now we'll add 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And 1 tablespoon of rose water. So I've added the lime juice and the rose water, and now we stir it. So right now the sugar syrup is done. The Kunafa is in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius. The time for it to cook can vary, but we'll check on it after 35 minutes and we'll know if it's cooked if the top is golden brown and crunchy. Okay, so I've checked on it at 45 minutes and 1 hour. It wasn't completely brown. So checking on it right now, it looks brown, so I'm gonna take it out. Yeah, that looks golden brown. As the Kunafa is out of the oven, immediately pour some warm sugar, the sugar syrup which you prepared. Pour it uniformly over the Kunafa. So as we finish pouring the sugar syrup, leave the Kunafa to rest for 5 to 10 minutes so that the sugar syrup can soak into the Kunafa. I've let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. So now I flipped the Kunafa over and I'm going to pour the sugar syrup over the bottom side. Make sure it's uniform. So So after pouring the sugar syrup over for the second time, I'm going to leave the kunafa to rest for 5 to 10 minutes again. So I've let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. It looks good. Now it's time for me to taste. Yeah, that's good. Could have maybe done with a little bit less rose water, but otherwise, yeah, overall really good. Thank you guys for watching.